Where's the white chalk? There it is. Okay. All right. Now, these stages of love are stages that every person goes through. The problem with these stages is that it hides certain personality traits that most people will find useful. It hides people's shadow side. Each stage comes with a different manifestation of people's shadow. Now, it's not a rule for everyone. It could be that you don't see their shadow in the first stage. It could be that you don't see their shadow in the second stage. But maybe once you get to the full commitment, that's when you start to see their shadow. And it's pretty much based on power. It's based on how much power do I have over you. When you start to fall in love with people, you start to fall under a spell. And you're literally spellbound by them. And some people need to see a certain level of infatuation and blindness for them to either consciously or unconsciously bring out their shadow side. So what I'm trying to tell you is that as you go through these stages, don't think you already made it. Because you might think you finally reach this level, but then you start noticing they get really controlling, right? And the problem is that once we fall in love, we harden our perception of them. And the problem is that people's perception of people harden around this stage. And I need you to develop the capacity to see through that hardening process. And usually you do that through developing a meditation practice, okay? So with that being said, let's begin this. And if you guys want to practice meditating, you guys can meditate with me, people, on a daily basis. We try to meditate every day, but because of work. But there's on Patreon, you're able to meditate with me for $5 a month, every other day of the week, or maybe every day through Zoom. And I guide you guys through it. And I literally teach you guys how to develop a practice. And when you're able to do that, you're able to do this, right? You'll be able to let go of people when you have a daily meditation practice, all right? So with that being said, just go to my Patreon, or if you ever worked with me, just send me a message and I'll send you the link to the Zoom, because if the free meditation one is you get to meditate live with me, but through Patreon, you watch the previous teachings and the previous meditations on top of other contents that we post on Patreon. Do that now, or I'm closing the channel. All right, so the first stage is Eros, right? This is when people this is when they see the physicality, the animalistic side, right? This is usually fueled by passion, intense passion, and sexuality. And I like to add projections, because this is purely superficial, right? An approximation of something in the past. And this comes with intensity. And be careful, whenever you meet someone, and this is very intense, red the fuck flag. When this comes fast and is intense, they call that what? Love bombing. The solution is to slow them down. Slow the fuck down, all right? You don't know me. I'm not that cute, all right? And what happens is that if it's really a projection, they get offended. If they're really narcissistic, they'll get defensive about you. So that's the first step, Eros. And that's why they have to find you physically attractive. It's a physical thing, right? Now, the next thing is Ludus. And this one is like playfulness. This is what people call chemistry. And once again, if this is too intense in the beginning, slow the fuck down. Because toxicity, two toxic people always have chemistry first. Toxic people always have chemistry. The problem is that it doesn't last too long. It's like milk. It ages like milk. And this is when you start to see, okay, I can hang out with them. I like them. Oh, we relate. We get along. You don't know whether or not you're compatible, but you get along. This stage is in the first month. God, I can't even write one. Oh my God, Father Alice, don't know numerology. It's in the first month of seeing them. And this is when usually love bombers leave in the first month. Usually most relationships don't go past 1 month, right? So now, the next thing is the building a connection. And this one is from 1 to 3 months. Once you're with them, now you relate to them on a daily basis. And this is when you start to see different things. And they call this stage Philia. When you have a sense of friendship, right? Now it's not just sex. Now it's a friendship. You hang out. You go on vacation. You start to develop feelings for them. You start to fantasize being with them in the future. You start to realize the values you guys have. You start to share vulnerability, right? And oh yeah, I did crack, or oh my God, like I was a stripper, that type of shit, right? And these vulnerabilities, you bring it out because you're getting more comfortable with them. And through this, you also start to see compatibilities. So you start to say, hey, I don't like the fact that you always go out. You start to see what makes a good friendship, right? The compatible aspect. The problem with this is that evidence that says you shouldn't be with them might be right in your face, but because you're so in love, it's difficult to realize the truth, right? It's difficult to accept that maybe you're wrong about this person. And usually it's because there's a lot of unprocessed emotions in you that you're not recognizing, that's causing you to be blind. That's why you have to meditate on a daily basis, people. That's why you have to join the Father Alex dojo, where you meditate with Father Alex over there. Yeah, that's right. Point you over there. Yeah, you'll be right there. You'll see me over there inside meditating with me, people. And it's on Zoom, people. It's really fun. I'm not even lying. It's really fun, right? And it's great if you feel sad. You got to meditate with Father Alex. I know you feel good. So yeah, the Philia. And this is where you see, like on paper, compatibility, right? They do this, they do crack, they smoke weed, they drink this, they're an alcoholic. Like, this is when you see whether or not you should be with them. And this is when you start to feel like they're a friend, okay? The problem with this is that some people have such little knowledge of themselves that they can never reach this stage. Some people might call this corny. Some guys might say, oh, you're pussy whipped. It's the deeper you get into this, the more of your unconscious you have to deal with, right? Like, if you have a lot of unprocessed emotion, which is trauma, getting to this level is really traumatic because you might find it boring. You might find it suffocating, but that's not all, right? A lot of people could do this actually. This is, like I said, the 1 or 3 months, right? Now, the next stage is commitment. At this stage, this is when people become boyfriend and girlfriend, right? Like, oh, I get along with this person. I want them to be my boyfriend. Now, this is when it gets deeper. You experience this level from 6 to like 9 or even 12 months. And this is when you start to see them as family. And it's very difficult, because usually most of our conflict is with family. Most of our hatred that we have for most people is for our family, if you're traumatized. Most of the most conflicting relationships are with our family, our moms, our dads. And unfortunately, those projections for the feelings you have for your mom and dad will start to project on this relationship. And if you haven't processed those unconscious emotions, you'll start to see things that are not there. You might start to see that they're maybe horrible people. Or maybe, yeah, you might start to see that they're good people when they're really not. And so this is why you have to develop meditation, man. I'm telling you, man, because the emotions could be so intense that it'll blind you from seeing the person changing. Where you might think, oh, this is a good person. All of a sudden, once they know you're fully committed, the monster comes out. But because you're still seeing this, or you're in denial, you don't see the person that you're with. They might start to act narcissistic, and other people can see, but you can't, because you're blinded with love. So the familiar love is a selfless love. I love you so much. You start to see them as family. Where when you travel and you have holidays, you can never not spend a holiday with them. Like literally, like I've experienced that with the last girl that I dated, like where it was almost like I didn't want to let her go because it just felt like she was my family. Like I went past, it was a friendship. We used to hang out. Beautiful friendship. Like we were like we got along really well. Like, oh my God, Father Alice has going over. Shut up. We got along really well. And then it came a point where, and the funny thing is, the way you get to each stage is this. You got to create space. And the space is created through conflict, right? As you're getting to know each other, you're going to realize there are some things you don't like about each other, right? And if you're not, if there's no projection, no anger, no resentment, you'll present it. It'll feel awkward. You might tell me, Delexis, some shit. It's a lot of shit people complain to me about. You're too distant. Like, I don't know if you like me. You give mixed signals, right? And then I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. and I feel bad, I feel awkward, I feel bad that I hurt you, but then I try to fix it. And I talk to you and I say, hey, it's because sometimes I feel awkward and this and that. And then she says, okay, well, how could we work it out? And that conflict, right? Notice how it's not Bronx mode, no stabbing. That conflict, over time, you start to develop a trust for them because they start to understand your contradictions. They see that, yeah, I know what you mean. Like, it's contradicting and it doesn't make sense, but I'm here for you. And this conflict, you start to see who they really are through their character, but also you start to love them because they're starting to understand you, right? And vice versa. And so this space or conflict, right? There will be moments when you're not there and you're like, man, I hope this doesn't turn her off. I hope this doesn't ruin our relationship. That conflict, that space allows you to go to the next level. But in order to go to the next level, there has to be incompatibilities that it's natural. It's not perfect. You talk about it. It feels awkward. You reconciliate. And like Mario, you jump to the other level. It's through conflict. But if you don't know how to have conflict, which usually people in this stage can't, you can't really get to that point of love, right? So this is a sense of familiarity, a selfless love, that you see them with love. And hopefully they see you with love, which then, Avery, goes down to the next level. The pH love, right? This one is when they love you and the love you feel for them allows you to love yourself. Listen, Avery, Ash, this type of love is when it's reciprocal, like I love you, you love me, and it creates the symbiotic energy creates a whirlpool that creates self-love, where the self-esteem that I feel from the knowledge that you love me and the knowledge that I love you makes me feel better about myself. It creates a new person. We become one, and that one is self-love, right? And that is how you grow as a person. But there's a danger to it because suffering comes with this. Eventually, you're all gonna die, right? Eventually, this is gonna end. And the beauty about that understanding is that understanding that one day you're not gonna be together because of death. It brings you closer. The knowledge of this beautiful thing ending causes you to grasp onto them more. And the older you guys get together, the more that realization of death comes closer, which allows you to hold on to them even tighter. And that is a type of love that young people can never feel. You have to get to that stage to be able to feel love at the face of death, right? It's truly it's a beautiful thing because that's how humans are meant to face death. We're not meant to face death alone. You're meant to face death with somebody being there, right? But that's the part that hurts. A lot of people, they don't want to feel pain. They'd rather not go through that because they're gonna, things will end one day, right? So this type of love is a type of love that it's the zenith of everything. It's the pinnacle of everything. And it's past the sexuality. It's past the friendship. It's past the familiarity. We're bordering on the spiritual here. This is the type of love that is agape love, the love that is beyond understanding. And unfortunately, you need to have a good attachment in your heart. You need to have a certain amount of, not so much trauma, because it'll just get in the way. If you develop drug addictions, if you develop neuroses, if you develop negative habits, it'll destroy this, right? If you start to become somebody who's honest with the person, it'll destroy. So this is very delicate, and this is only for the few. And let's just hope we all get to that, right? Like, let's hope we're able to love someone like that. Because it's very, right now, the world doesn't, you don't see this. You usually see this in old people, I envy those people who have that. All right, so let's talk about this, right? Let's hope it's recording. We got the Eros, which is like, banging the whole football team type shit. Ludus, which is playful. Philia, which is the sense of friendship. You start to see the compatibilities. And remember, in the first 3 or 4 months, this one in the first month, you start to have commitment, which is the familiar love. And this is between 6 and 8 months. And this one is after years. This is after years. This is like accumulation of years. It's like having a friend for 1 year and that friend you've known for like 50 years. You can't force this. This is a byproduct of literal time. Time is like the only thing that creates this, okay? Yeah, anyways, man, if you guys want to learn about this, check out my courses. I have a course, the Emotional Mastery. It'll give you the emotional capacity to do this. In Natural Chemistry, it's a course that I created for women to develop this type of relationship. And all the other courses, you're gonna see a commercial right at the end of the video where I talk about all of my courses, where I talk about the bundle. You can purchase all of them with 3 easy payments of $99. Yeah, that's right, people. And if you don't do that, I'm closing the channel. Take care. And if you guys like the artist, the Lexus, you guys can purchase my paintings. This is a commission that I'm doing for a client of the Mona Lisa. I also have more affordable paintings. These are original paintings, and look at this. These are copies of originals, which is fucking crazy. I mean, they look like the original paintings. I couldn't even find the original. So you guys can purchase these. Look at this, man. Original copy. Get the fuck out of here. It's on watercolor pencil paper. You guys can purchase it by going to my website in the description down below, and I'll see you guys later.